I'm delighted to welcome this morning Anna May, who is in Cirencester in England, and she's a life mentor and runs retreat workshops and does all kinds of wonderful things, helping young people in particular with health and well-being. So welcome, Anna. Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here, Elaine.
So you do something that absolutely fills me with dread and horror. You do wild swimming. Tell us about that.
I do, absolutely, and I adore it. And I can honestly say it has completely changed my life. The reason that I got into wild swimming, and I was the same as you, Elaine, I was the person that would get in the swimming pool and be screaming because I thought it was cold. Didn't really class myself as a particularly strong swimmer. And I got into it because I was diagnosed a few years ago with fibromyalgia. And I've been on a real long journey of trying to find out where all my pain was. And it was really amazing because a couple of years ago, my teenage son came home from school and he said to me, "Mum, we've watched a video today in tutor time about a lady who has fibromyalgia and wild swimming's really helped her." And I thought, as much as this terrifies me, actually, I'm so open to anything that's going to help with the pain. So I'm very impulsive. I went online that night, bought a wetsuit, had no idea what I was doing. Messaged a friend who I knew swam at the lake near me and said, "Can I come with you?" And literally went a few days later. And honestly, I was like hooked from the start. It's unbelievable. I can't begin to kind of explain the feeling you get when you're swimming in the lake. And it's honestly helped with my pain so much. Mentally, it's helped so much. Just that feeling of being completely free. And I think the amazing thing is with it is you can't think about anything but your breathing. So it's really powerful because I spend the whole time doing affirmations and breathing. And, having an hour to myself where I'm not thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner, what's going on with the kids and football and school. I'm literally focused on myself, on my breathing. And it's very different to being in a pool because you are literally surrounded by swans flying overhead, dragonfly landing on you. It's actually really magical. So, yeah, absolutely love it. And I try and go as much as I can.
Are you in the water for an hour?
Yeah, I am. When it's warm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's really interesting is when I first started, I built it up really, really gradually. And then I set myself a challenge. I like a challenge. And I set myself a challenge of being able to swim 20,000 meters in a month, which I knew was a massive stretch because I'd set myself this challenge and I'd only been wild swimming for about 3 months. But I thought, actually, I need a goal. If I'm really going to make this part of my daily life, I need to have a bit of a goal and a bit of a target. So it was September and I'd not long been swimming. I decided I'd raise money for Fibromyalgia charity and literally went every day. And by the end of that month, I was at the point where I could swim, 1,000 meters, 1,500 meters at a time. And I could swim for a full solid hour. But I think that's because so much of that was because I'd built up that sort of courage and that strength. I'd literally been doing affirmations in the water constantly. Even if I didn't feel it to begin with, I'd literally swim saying, I'm strong, I'm brave, I'm courageous, I'm pain-free. And over time, that just went in and I truly believed that. And I got to the end of that month, having achieved the 20,000 meters, raised an awful lot of money and just felt incredible, really. So yeah, that was a great thing to do.
Goodness me. I was a competitive swimmer in my teens and I used to train twice a day in a chlorinated pool, which was part of my health challenges, which is another story. But the thought of swimming in water where there's fishes and things and creepies and that's the thing that I couldn't cope with. I've swum when I was a competitive swimmer. We used to train sometimes in really cold water if we were doing tours and there was outside pool. I mean, I'm going back years. I'm going back, 50 odd years now. I mean, it's ridiculous. Wow. But, there we go. So it's the creepies, and also with the sea. I won't go in the sea because you can't see what's lurking around. That's in the UK, but abroad, and I live in the Algarve in Portugal, where the sea and the sand and everything is beautiful, but you can see what's in there. So equally, I'm not happy with things and stuff. Anyway, you mentioned about the coldness. You also follow the Wim Hof method, don't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so once I started doing the cold water swimming, I started reading a little bit about the Wim Hof method. I watched the program that he did, which I just utterly loved, and I don't know if you've seen that, but it's unbelievable, and it really moved me, actually, a lot of the stories on there. So I gave that a go. I tried one of the breathing workshops, became good friends with a guy locally who is a Wim Hof instructor, and then I started doing the cold showers. So that's something that I do daily. So just started building it up really gradually. That made a massive impact for me, because when I couldn't get to the lake, that was almost like a quick fix, in a way, that just having that cold shower in the morning just set me up for the day. And then Jamie, the guy who I've become friendly with, he's done both of my 2 recent retreats. And in February, we did the ice bath, which was something that I wanted to do for a really long time. Again, always thought, how am I going to do this? My friends always say to me, I can't believe you swim in the water. I can't believe you've done an ice bath. I'm like the coldest person ever. I really am a cold person. And but it was just unbelievable, like the most amazing experience. And to do that on a retreat with 6 of the women that were equally as terrified, and for all of us to achieve it and sit in this ice bath for 2 minutes, incredible. The feeling you get after it, I literally jumped out and I was buzzing. I felt like I could run a marathon, and that feeling stays with you for such a long time. And for me, a lot of it is so much about the mental side of it, that, to be doing something like that, you think, if I can sit in a bucket, well, it wasn't a bucket, an ice bath of freezing cold ice for 2 minutes, I literally can do anything. And I think that's what the lake swimming does for me. It makes me feel really courageous, I suppose, and makes me feel like if I can do this, I can take on anything.
It's incredible, isn't it? Some people will walk over hot coals. There's retreats and workshops and things that teach people how to walk over hot coals, and it's the same thing. It's about the mental aspect, isn't it? It's about kind of psyching yourself up, but if you can do that on a continual basis, you're unconquerable. And I think it's amazing the effects it has. So do you class yourself now as having fibromyalgia, or do you consider yourself completely sorted?
I don't think I have fibromyalgia. So I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I've been in pain. I'm now 47, been in pain since I was about 17. And I guess when I was diagnosed with fibro a couple of years ago, I clung on to it because I was so desperate for a diagnosis, because I had every treatment going. I mean, like the weirdest, Chinese herbal medicine, Chinese acupuncture, you name it. People would say to me, have you tried this? I'd be like, literally, I have tried everything. MRI scans, like nobody could find anything. So when the doctor said, we think it's fibromyalgia, which really is a bit of a strange one, because they diagnose you with fibromyalgia if they don't know what else it is.
Exactly. It's an all-encompassing title, isn't it? That basically they've run out of everything else. So let's give you that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really clung on to that in a way, because I just thought, finally somebody has given me an answer. And they put me on quite strong medication. But I made I made a choice quite soon after that diagnosis, when I was put on this medication, that I thought, I'm still not convinced it's that. And that to me doesn't feel like a proper diagnosis. It's so broad. And I did a lot of research, and a lot of the things that I was on a fibro Facebook page, and people were complaining about things. And I was thinking, that just doesn't sound like me. So I sort of started my own journey and thought, right, I am the only person that can change any of this. I'm the only person that can get to the bottom of why I'm feeling like this. So I then embarked on a real journey of, I had a lot of coaching, therapy, the wild swimming, meditation, and actually got to the point that now, so I would say that was probably, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. It was the beginning of lockdown, actually, so probably a bit longer. I'm still on the medication, but I'm on half of what I was on, and the pain is so much more manageable, because I think I've now realised what's caused the pain, and I've now found coping mechanisms and things that make me feel much better. So I don't class myself as having fibro anymore. I truly believe that it's trapped trauma that I was holding on to for such a long time.
In the work that I do, helping people to reverse serious illness, or best still not get it in the first place, it's always the emotional baggage that sometimes we don't even realise we've got, that causes the inability to heal. You can do all of these wonderful therapies and this, that and the other thing, and eat well, etc. But if you've got the emotional stuff trapped, I have a number of different associates that I do collaborations with, and I refer people to, depending upon what their issue is, what the chemistry is with the people that I'm kind of putting together. And every time the shift is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and it's the emotional stuff. So you've said that you don't consider yourself having fibro, but you're still on meds. What are the meds, and what are they supposed to do?
So I am on pregabalin, so I'm on a fairly low dosage now, and that is supposed to help with the pain and with your nerves. I got to a funny place where I thought, when I started to feel better, I thought, am I feeling better because of the medication, or am I feeling better because I'm doing all this work? Which is why I started gradually coming off the medication. Then got to the point that I thought, actually, I am starting to feel better. So that's now my goal within the next few months, is to be completely free of that, because I truly believe that the more work I do on myself, the more I uncover where all this pain and this emotions come from, it's almost like I can feel that pain melting away. And I've had a lifetime of medication in a way. I've taken painkillers for 30 years because it's been a real coping mechanism for me because of that constant pain. And I think a big part of it for me was not telling people about the pain. So I really class myself as a swan, that very much, that analogy that I was, gliding through life. Everyone was always like, oh, she's so happy and positive, and and underneath I was kicking like hell because I was in absolute agony. And that for me really added to my pain, because I wasn't being honest with people, and I was hiding it all to myself because I didn't want to be a victim. And but I got to breaking point, really, I think, and I just thought, I can't carry on with this anymore. Like this, having the pain is one thing, but then hiding it from everybody is almost like another level.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's again, in my experience, when you're not being authentic, when you're not being your true self, then that makes things worse. So the work that I do with behavioural profiling and linking it with health mentoring, I can tell from somebody's behaviour profile pattern what's going on in their health without meeting them. And I can tell what the likelihood is of the conditions that they're going to be suffering with, and obviously help them to move through that. But the other thing is also the underlying things that happen in our health and well-being, which the medical people never discover because they're looking in the wrong places.
Yeah,
I used a hair analysis, which a big factor in fibro and other similar conditions is the mineral imbalances. So when our minerals are out of balance, we are actually causing ourselves more problems. So I don't recommend any supplementation without testing, because if, for example, magnesium, if people are taking magnesium because, oh yes, magnesium is good for relaxing and this, that and the other, but if your body is already producing too much magnesium or a lot of magnesium and it's out of kilter with other factors, other minerals, that can cause depression and so on. So, and the same with all of the minerals in our body. So I do a mineral analysis and a blood analysis as well, finger prick blood analysis. And this is all done at home. People don't need to go anywhere. It's all, it's what you said about self-help, you taking responsibility. And when people take responsibility and do their own investigations, it's amazing what shows up. And it's nothing like what the NHS do and medical people. But there is an integrative model, because sometimes medication is necessary and there's a place for that. And if you have a car crash, you want to be with the medical people, they know what they're doing.
Of course, and I really believe that, I think what the medication did for me was got me to a level that I could cope.
Yes.
Because it's so bad that without that I just was really struggling to function on a daily basis. So I'm very grateful to that, actually, that it got me to, I see it like it got me to a level of being able to cope, that I had enough energy to then invest in finding out myself what the problem was, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I am grateful for that, and I see that, like, to come off it when you've been on it for a couple of years is, as you well know, you've got to do it really gradually, which is what I'm doing. But yeah, that is my absolute goal, is just to be pain-free, to be pain-free, medication-free, which I haven't been in 30 years. So, but I fully know that 30 years of pain, that doesn't go overnight. That is a process and it is a journey, and I have really good days and I have other days where I'm struggling a bit. But I think the thing that I know now is that I've got the power to be able to change all of that. And if I really, truly invest in myself, then I can get to the bottom of it. Well, I am getting to the bottom of it, and I can really unravel all of that, which is why I want to then help other people do the same thing, really.
Absolutely. There's no amount of qualifications take the place of personal experience. And yeah. I've met many health professionals who've got qualifications but no experience, and there's a limit to how much they can help. So retreats, tell us about your retreats then. What are they? Where are they? What's the formation?
So I started this at the beginning of last year. I launched it. It was an idea I'd had for a really long time, and a friend who is a life coach just really nurtured me and encouraged me to do it, because she knew my story. And exactly like you said, Elaine, she said, you need to share your story. You can help other people with what you've been through. And I think actually having your own coaching and therapy really helps you, because I've learned so much along the way. And that's what I've really loved about therapy, is that I truly believe we've got all the answers inside us. Absolutely. And just having somebody help you gently bring all of those things out and make some sense of it. So, I'd had these ideas for a long time, thinking, right, if I can start helping people, because ultimately I saw it like I'm a switched on, fairly intelligent. I'm not sure my children would agree. Really open-minded person, and it's still taken me 30 years to get to the bottom of my pain. There must be thousands of other people out there that are doing exactly the same as me, that are relying on medication, that are really struggling, that are holding on to pain, not letting it go, not telling their friends and family. So that kind of was the real thought process behind it, was that if I'm feeling like this and nobody else knows that I'm feeling like this, and I've put this, Barbie face on for the past however many years, then there must be lots of other people. So I took a leap of faith and launched a retreat, which got fully booked up. So we went to Wales for the weekend, had a beautiful house, amazing women. And my vision for it really was just to have a really safe space where people could open up, share their feelings, feel really safe. And one of the things that was one of my main goals, which I've achieved, which I'm so happy about, was to bring women together and for them to almost have like that sort of sisterhood then, so that they felt like they've been together for over the weekend. None of them knew each other, but I thought, if I can bring people together in a safe space, that they feel safe enough to open up to each other and to me, that then they've shared things maybe they've never told anybody before, and then that instantly creates that connection with each other, because they feel safe, they feel like they trust each other, because they've all been vulnerable and all shared things with each other. And that was my vision. That's what I saw. And that's been wonderful, because the first group of women I put together, they now class themselves as friends. We've got together a couple of times. I've done a vision board workshop with them. We've all got together for drinks and nibbles. It's been really lovely. And one of them said to me yesterday, I really class those girls as friends now, which is amazing. So that's one of my main goals with the retreats, is to bring people together, but also just to introduce different ways. And so we did, obviously, like I said, the ice bath and the Wim Hof breathing. Just even, I think, walking together is really important, to be able to walk and talk. And then I'm introducing yoga. I've got lots of different people that want to do collabs, because I think it's nice to keep it different every time. And I did one last weekend, which was again Wim Hof breathing session. And then we spent the afternoon really just coaching and talking through things. And I shared quite a bit about, I've always had a real love for the law of attraction and manifestation. That's one of my things that I've always loved. So I shared about that because I think that just links into mindset and what we're saying to ourselves and what we're saying to other people and the way we view the world. So yes, did quite a lot on that. And just in a really nice, beautiful space. So I've got a creative background as well. So for me, my retreats, a lot of it is about the feeling that people get when they're there and when they leave, that they feel like they've had a really special time, that it's all home cooked food that I do. I love baking. That's like therapy to me. So lots of tea and cake and really nice, healthy food. But I like, the extra special touches and the cards and the gifts and the flowers and making the space look beautiful in itself, because I think that's really important, because I want people to come away. And even if that's just for a day, if it's a day without the children or their partner or their work, that they can just come away in a really beautiful space with lovely, open-minded people. They can make those connections, and then they can just learn different ways to heal and let go of pain, really.
Brilliant. How do people get hold of you, Anna?
So I'm on Facebook as Anna May. That is the easiest way to get hold of me. That's my personal Facebook page. At the moment, I'm currently just putting out my retreats on there, because I've got quite a lot of connections on there at the moment. But we'll be setting up different sort of social media channels as the business moves forward. So it's very, very, very new. I've literally just done the 2 retreats. But the amazing thing is I've had so much demand already for it, and I get messages on Facebook all the time from people struggling, and that's really hard to hear, but it's also quite nice because I know that I can help those people. So yeah, lots and lots of plans moving forward, but I'd say Facebook's the best way to find me, really.
Brilliant. Okay. And can people email you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my best email address is swanlakeretreats@gmail.com.
Marvellous. Lovely speaking with you, Anna. Best of luck with your retreats. I've run several retreats over the years, and it's a wonderful way to help people to connect and, as you say, make new friends. So best of luck with that. Enjoy and continue your journey of coming off those meds. Well done.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Lovely to speak to you.